fellow Star Wars nerds, and welcome to Unlimited Content, the podcast where two brothers talk about all of Star Wars film and TV in chronological order on the internet as an excuse to hang out more. We're your hosts, Sam and Jack, and this week we're talking about the Clone Wars Season 4, Episodes 7 through 10, Darkness on Umbara, The General, Plan of Descent, and Carnage of Krell. It's the Krell. It's the Umbara arc, Sam. It's the Pong Krell arc.
Oh.
We've arrived, and I'm scared.
Oh my goodness. We're here.
I'm frightened.
I'm scared. But wait, Jack. This whole time we said we were gonna do just half of the arc. So if people are watching along,
what's up with that, Sam?
I don't know. Man, whoever decided to call an audible and say, "Hey, we should just do it," shame on them. Not to point fingers or name names.
Person.
Yeah, that person stinks.
Who could that be?
Yeah. Yeah, it was me. Okay. Yeah. So I was watching the first couple episodes and I was like, every time we've done a podcast episode about a very combat-heavy episode, the Wikipedia article is always very short. And so I assumed that something similar would happen here. I didn't check. I'm just like, it's going to be fine. So we're doing it. We're just doing the whole Pong Krell arc. So if you came into this episode expecting just Darkness and Umbara and the General, pause this podcast right now, go back, watch the next two episodes as well, and then come back and listen along with us. Dear listeners.
And come back with your devastated soul after you finish this arc.
Indeed.
So we can talk about it together.
Yes. Oh, man. Jack, here on the podcast, we talk about how a lot of things would be better if people just got therapy. I think this episode in particular is true. But therapy is expensive. How?
That it is, Sam.
How are we going to pay for all of our therapy bills after watching the Umbara arc in one sitting?
Well, luckily, we do have another sponsor this week.
Really?
To keep us afloat, to pay for all of our therapy bills that we need after watching this devastating arc.
Yes.
After Pong Krell broke our hearts. This week's episode of Limited Content is brought to you by insulated water bottles.
Insulated water bottles?
I love a good insulated water bottle.
Ooh, like a good vacuum insulated.
Yeah. I've had one for a few years now. I've had a few different ones. My current one is this. It's an Owala.
I like Owala. That's a good brand.
They're not a sponsor. It's just the concept of insulated water bottles sponsors us. But I have all of the Jedi Need Therapy sticker on the side of it.
There we go.
So, but yeah, I love. It's one of those small things that I've like. Once I got it, I was like, how did I ever live without this? It's like, I have it at pretty much everywhere I go now. It's the main thing I drink water out of.
Good.
And like, it's incredible. Just like, the fact that I can leave my water bottle in my car during the Texas summer and then come back like 4 hours later and the water is still cold is incredible. It's amazing. It's so refreshing to be able to like sit in my hot car and be like, oh, at least I have this nice cool water ready for me, instead of getting in and it's like, oh, I love this 80-degree water that I'm drinking now.
I love 80-degree water. That's my favorite. Did you see that lady had she had like a, I don't know if it's like a Stanley thermos or like a Yeti or something, but the same kind of like steel vacuum insulated like water container. Her car like burned to a crisp and there was still ice in her cup.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It was nuts. So anyway, thank you.
Sam, your connection is rough right now.
Oh gosh.
I cannot. You're really cutting in and out, and right now your screen is just like it looks like missing no.
Oh no. Oh gosh, that's not good. I'm
gonna send you a picture.
Oh gosh.
Of what you look like. This is your screen right now.
Let me look at this. Oh man. Oh, I found our album art. Oh man. Is my voice still coming in clear?
You might just have to turn off video.
This isn't going as planned. Nothing to see here.
Well, we're back in it.
We're back.
It wasn't going as planned, but now we're back.
Yes.
We're back. We're good. Anyway, thank you to our sponsor, Insulated Water Bottles, for sponsoring this episode of Limited Content.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Speaking of internet, my apartment complex is getting upgraded this month to gigabit.
Ooh.
So I'm very excited for that. I think technically they did do the upgrade, and I just need to call like Time Warner, or no, Spectrum is what they're called now.
I have Spectrum.
I need to call Spectrum to get a new router.
I
mean, I've had fine experience with Spectrum. while I've lived here. The internet at my apartment complex is free, so that's part of why I'm cool with it. But also, I've just, for the most part, I have not had an issue. Like, there'll be some downtime usually, but like the connection when I have it, which is most of the time, is strong. So I maybe I've gotten lucky, but I don't know, it's working well for me so far.
That's good. Yeah. See, I at one point,
this episode of limited content is not brought to you by Spectrum.
Please no. We wouldn't even would reject their sponsorship money, even if they offered. Which there's no way we're getting it now. I at one point in time had Google Fiber, and it's the best internet I've ever had. But they don't offer Google Fiber in my neighborhood.
And now you don't.
And I'm sad.
Dang.
I'm sad, Jack.
That's a bummer. I'm sad for
Thanks,
you,
man. You know, for the first couple years of COVID, I had for the first few years of COVID, we had Google Fiber, and it was great. And then we moved here, and now we don't. Sad.
Dang.
If Google Fiber wants to sponsor us, and by sponsor us, I mean like install it in my neighborhood, that'd be great.
Or just actually sponsor us. Like, I'd take a sponsor from Google Fiber.
I'll say whatever you want. Just free internet for life. And
Google, give us all your millions of dollars you have.
So much dollars. I'll do it.
So much dollars, so much credits.
Credits will do fine.
Sam, what have you been up to this past week?
So this past week, Sarah has been recovering from COVID, and so I have been apart from her, but in the same house. And so I've had a lot of time to myself in the evenings, with not much to do, because I usually spend my evenings with my lovely wife, because I like her a lot, and we do those sort of things. But since I couldn't, I went back to a childhood love of mine, which is Dragon Ball Z. I discovered that Dragon Ball Super, which is a sequel series to Dragon Ball Z, is on Hulu. Dragon Ball Z is also on Hulu. But I wanted to watch Dragon Ball Super, because why not? And over the course of like 5 days, I watched 30 episodes of Dragon Ball Super.
Amazing.
They're like 20-minute episodes, but like
they move at a clip. I mean,
they do
kind of.
Yeah.
They're very slow and very fast at the same time.
Yeah, they're quick episodes. Not much happens every episode, which is why it's very bingeable, because you just want the plot to move along. But it's
exactly
a lot of fun. I am very much enjoying doing this. I had this realization that I was reverting to 5th grade me, where I would come home from work, say hi to people, and then go sit on the couch, have a bowl of Frosted Mini Wheats, and watch Dragon Ball. And that's what I did for most of middle school, and it's what I'm doing now. And it's great. I love it. Work has been stressful lately, and my therapist says that this is actually very good for me to be doing this.
Yay.
As long as it's not saying with other things. He said, this is probably really healing for you, and to just kind of like be a kid again for a while. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's awesome. I love it. Give me more Dragon Ball. It's good. It's fun. I forgot how it's kind of fourth wall breaky a lot of the time. It's a very self-aware show. There is one character who at one point, like, they're like traveling across the universe, and like, how long is it going to take us to travel like from this side of the universe to the other? It's like, it's going to take us about like 26 minutes and 44 seconds. Wow, that's the length of like one typical episode of an anime TV show. And literally, that was the end of one episode. The end of the next episode, they got there.
It's amazing.
It was so great. It was just the self-awareness of this show. And there's other things too, but it's just, that was like the one just distilled down to, that's hilarious. I love it. It's very witty. It also is kind of like middle school boy humor a lot of the time, which explains why I like it as middle school boy. So it's a little cringy at times too, but it's so fun. And it's just, it requires approximately 2 brain cells to enjoy the show. And that's all I wanted to use. And it was great. I love it so much. A lot of just like, just beat 'em ups and screaming, and it's a lot of fun. It's just so much fun. It's just popcorn. It's a popcorn TV show. I like it a lot.
That's great. Yeah. That reminds me of a couple things. One is you said Dragon Ball. I immediately thought of a good friend of mine, Thomas, has a podcast called World's Strongest Podcast. They go through. It's basically this, but for Dragon Ball. So they're going through all of Dragon Ball in podcast form. It's been around for quite a while, and it's him and 2 other guys. And I I figured I would plug that because it's my friend's great.
Nice.
He's funny and cool, and he loves Dragon Ball, and he's an excellent, talented voice actor himself. And yeah, I'll put a link to that in the description of the episode. But yeah, World's Strongest Podcast. Go check it out wherever your local podcast dealers sell their podcasts. You know,
I like that. I like that a lot. I might have to check it out because I mean there's just almost as many episodes of Dragon Ball things as there are Star Wars TV shows. So
yeah,
it makes sense
their content is rather it's fairly unlimited.
It's expansive.
So
yes,
yeah,
it's great. Yeah, because there's 131 episodes of Dragon Ball Super, which is a lot of episodes.
That's a bunch.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah.
Cool
so yeah, that, and the other thing it reminded me of was you were talking about comfort shows, and
yes.
this is kind of on the opposite spectrum in some ways, but it's also still a comfort show for me.
Great.
This past week started rewatching The West Wing again, and
how did I know you were going to say that? when you said the opposite end of the spectrum of Dragon Ball, what is the opposite end? West Wing probably, and then you said West Wing.
Yeah, you were like,
and like,
yeah, you
described highly intellectual and no action at all.
Yeah, I mean, you described Dragon Ball as being like a 2 brain cell show, and
yes,
this is very much not a 2 brain cell show. But if you've seen it, 2 times before, like I have, it can be a 2 brain cell show because I know what's gonna happen, and it's just like a comfort show.
Yes, I love it.
So it's
what streaming service is that on?
It's now on
Netflix?
Max. It's on Max now.
On Max.
It used to be on Netflix, but
Thanks,
Max has the rights now. Our brother Max.
It's on our
streaming rights to The West Wing.
Wow.
Gotta go get him.
He's set for life.
Yep.
Nice. I do love me some West Wing.
Yes. Yeah. So just started in season 1. I skipped the pilot episode because I feel like I've seen that enough times, and it's the pilot, so it's kind of rough. So, but I started with episode 2, and I'm just making my way through the series again. I'll probably stop when I get to like season 4, because after season 4 is kind of when it's less good to me. It never gets bad in my opinion. It's just like once Aaron Sorkin leaves the show, it just feels like it loses some of what I like about that show. But
yeah, you mean you don't want to see President Bail Organa? Come on.
That's true. We do get President Bail Organa. President Santos himself.
President Santos. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it made me think of that. But Sam, you were watching some other things. Some other fun
I was watching some other things. Yeah. One of those fun action things took more brain cells than Dragon Ball. And that was I watched Logan for the first time. I had never seen Logan before. I don't know how I'd never seen Logan before. I've owned the DVD or the Blu-ray basically since it came out on Blu-ray. Sarah and I started watching it, and then we got sleepy and went to bed and didn't finish it, and then just never came back to watching it, which is surprising because we both love this kind of movie, like very like artsy and heartful and intense. Is kind of like our bread and butter, but so I don't know why we didn't watch it. So I just decided to watch it on Friday night, because Sarah and I were still kind of doing our own thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch this because she was like on a horror movie kick right now. And I don't like horror movies that much. And she does. So she was watching it back in the bedroom on her laptop. And I was like, I'm going to watch Logan. And so I did. And it was so very, very good. Just a very, I don't know. I loved it a lot. Very heartfelt. I cried way more than I thought I would.
It's tearjerker.
And then the immediate next night, I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. We need to talk about that movie because
we do.
Yeah. First of all, Logan, great movie. Love that movie. I bought it again. I saw it when it was in theaters, and then I have it on 4K, and I don't think I've watched it since I've bought it on 4K, but I've seen it before. It's great.
Nice.
Excellent movie. Really cool. Really like the way that they kind of play fast and loose with the lore a little bit in terms of which I mean. It's fine because the X-Men movies, like, continuity is all over the place and doesn't really make sense anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I like the fact that there's that one part when they like actually have a stack of X-Men comic books, and Logan is like, yeah, these stories, none of these are really what happened, So he kind of referring to the fact that like this is not necessarily the same like universe or timeline or whatever, but
right.
or But anyway, amazing, excellent, great performances from Patrick Stewart, and of course from Hugh Jackman, and also from her name I can't remember, but X-23
Jackie.
Jackie. That's why I was gonna
Daphne Keane.
Daphne Keane, yes, the great Daphne Keane. This was her. I think this is her debut role was in Logan.
I think so. Yeah.
And most recently, we saw her in The Acolyte as Jackie. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Amazing.
In the arms of an angel.
Okay. So with that, Sam and I have both seen Deadpool and Wolverine in the last week. I think because it's such a recent movie, we should not do major spoilers. But I want to talk about general thoughts and also just the opening scene. Right?
I don't know. This podcast isn't going to come out for about a month, so I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
If I'm a betting man.
Okay.
I think we're going to be fine.
All right. Spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine, then.
So if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, maybe fast forward to look at the timestamps that Jack makes. She's great. So I love that it, the very beautiful, sad, heartfelt, hopeful ending to Logan.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine immediately just starts at that. So, Logan dies at the end of Logan. And then the opening scene for... Yeah, oops. Well, it's been out. That's been out since, it's been out for 10 years.
2017 or something, yeah. It's been a while.
17, okay, fine, whatever. 7 years.
It's been a while. No, it's
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. But, yeah, so the last scene in Logan is Logan's funeral. And then the first scene in Deadpool and Wolverine is Deadpool digging up Logan's body from that grave.
And then, not only digging up his body from that grave, he
using his adamantium skeleton as a weapon.
As a weapon to just massacre a whole, battalion of TVA soldiers. Just brutally. It is the most Deadpool thing. What a great way to start
really
this movie. It's an excellent opening scene.
And it was all over it was also a dance sequence at the same time to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye.
Yes. It was great.
So it was perfect. The perfect Deadpool opening scene.
Yes.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun.
So sorry, you go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. I was just going to say, overall thoughts on this movie. I liked it a lot. I think it was really fun. Yeah. I feel like it's still not I didn't come out of this movie feeling oh yeah, the MCU is back, baby. But I came out of it being yeah, I'm glad I saw that and that was fun. And there was a lot of it definitely leans very heavily on fan service and on cameos and references and stuff, which is fine for a Deadpool movie, obviously. But it's the kind of movie that is definitely going to be most enjoyed by people who are into comic book movies and meta stuff and references. And if you liked the first two Deadpool movies, you'll probably like this. And it's also helpful if you know some stuff about the MCU, but also the other Marvel non-MCU movies, but also stuff outside, in the real world about old casting decisions. And it's so self-aware and meta and it's very cool in a lot of ways.
It was great.
Yeah. I think man, so much stuff to talk about. We got a whole sequence of Deadpool going to different universes, different timelines to find a Logan to help him, and we saw these different variants of Logans, and a lot of them they were all taken straight from the comics, basically. And of course there was one that was
which one was your favorite?
I mean,
which one was your favorite?
It's got to be. I mean, short Logan was great because that's that was amazing because he's supposed to be short in the comics, and Hugh Jackman's
he's
a tall
5
man.
feet tall in the comics. Yeah.
So that was funny, but it's got to be Henry Cavill, right? They got Henry Cavill to come in and be and be a variant of Wolverine, which was great.
Yeah, the Cavalrine.
The Cavalrine. That's good. I like that. And of course, Deadpool makes reference to the fact he's like, yeah, we'll treat you way better here in Marvel than they do at the other place. He's like, yeah, good. We got that sequence, and then we got TVA stuff, and then we got them being thrown into the whatever the dimension where people go when they get
The void.
zapped. Yeah, the void. Yes. And we got a bunch of cool, visual references to things like the entire 20th Century Fox logo just embedded in the ground, like the Statue of Liberty at the end of Planet of the Apes. And
yes,
and we saw other stuff in the background, like we saw like a helicarrier and other various things from other Marvel stuff. I'm sure there's things that once this comes out on Blu-ray, people are going to be going through everything with a fine-tooth comb and finding all the tiny little references.
Some of the things I noticed that I know we saw Thor's original helmet, from the comics with the wings.
We saw that, and we saw an original cap shield,
and
right?
Captain America's the original cap shield. Yeah. What else was out there? I know one of there's a whole reference to Mad Max and Furiosa and stuff, because there's just these traveling bands of I don't know, raiders or whatever on these giant cobbled together Mad Max style car kind of things, and one of them was a Fantastic Four hovercraft.
Yes,
which was
fun. Was great. I love that. And then we got what is maybe arguably the best cameo in the movie, which is they got Chris Evans to come back, and you're led to believe that it's going to be, Steve Rogers, Captain America, a variant of him. But no, it's actually the other Marvel character that Chris Evans played, which is the Human Torch from the old Fantastic Four movies, which is amazing.
It was so good. And he had his Boston accent and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
It was great. It was so fun. Yeah. I mean, Chris Evans will cameo in anything and in everything, and I am cool with that because he's always a delight in everything.
Yeah.
So
he's just here for a good time.
Yes,
I get that feeling.
I like the fact that he's he's retired from Captain America, but he'll still come back and do a silly fun thing. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because he did a Free Guy cameo, right? He was in
I never saw Free
Guy, and oh really?
I've been meaning to. I've heard it's good, but yeah,
it is good. This isn't much of a spoiler because it's just kind of it's everywhere, and I think it was in the trailers for the DVD release or whatever.
Sure.
But at one point, Ryan Reynolds' character gets Captain America's shield, and Chris Evans was watching this happen because it's a live stream video game Twitch kind of thing is what the premise of the whole thing is, and he was watching the stream on his phone, and he pulls out Captain America's shield. And oh, what the shit! And it was and that was because he saw that Ryan Reynolds stole Captain America's shield for the thing. It was funny. It was great.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of other they pulled a lot of other characters from older Marvel things. The one that surprised me the most was we got Wesley Snipes' Blade.
Yes,
I did not expect to see him there.
Yeah, so there's many cameos and other characters that get brought back from older movies or things like that. And there's one scene in particular where we get introduced to a bunch of 4 different major cameos in one scene. Of older superheroes from past movies, and one of them is Wesley Snipes as Blade, and that appearance got the biggest cheers in the theater at my screening.
Yeah,
everybody was hyped for that.
Same.
Which was awesome. I love that I think there was a joke at one point where Wesley Snipes was "There's only one Blade," and Deadpool's well, not anymore, actually. 'Cause they're making a new one.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so then, that was awesome. We got Elektra from Elektra and the Daredevil movie.
From Ben Affleck's,
Jennifer
Ben
Garner,
Affleck's
right?
right?
It was,
yeah.
And we got what was probably my favorite cameo of the whole movie because of how weird and meta and delightful it is. We got Channing Tatum as Gambit, which, for those who don't know,
but comics accurate Gambit.
Yes, comics accurate nice. Gambit looked great, looked very silly but perfect. And for those that don't know,
yes,
forever ago, maybe a decade ago at this point, Channing Tatum was cast as Gambit in the X-Men universe, and all of his movies that he was going to be in as Gambit all got canceled and died in development hell. So he was
I think he was in one scene where it kind of got the original Wade Wilson with the mouth sewed shut kind of treatment.
I think
he was in wasn't he was in one scene, and I think it was another Wolverine's origin movie or something. It was like a backroom casino
so
thing.
so there was actually
no
Gambit shows up, but it's played by a different character, by a different actor. It was Taylor Hitch, I think. Taylor Hitch. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, point is, yes, there was he has shown up once before in one scene, like in a casino or something.
But it was
a different actor, and then after that they cast Channing Tatum as him, like for like I don't know if there was like going to be a Gambit movie or if it was just going to be another like X-Men movie that featured Gambit and that fell through or whatever. But anyway, it was great because we finally got to see Channing Tatum finally got his chance to be Gambit on the big screen, and there were some great jokes about
a really good Gambit too. It was great.
Really good. He did a great job. Honestly, it was amazing, and he got like some really awesome action sequences that really used his powers very well, and like he did a great performance. And I they make a joke referencing like the other sort of discarded superheroes were like, yeah, like we all had our chance, but we've all been discarded, and then Gambit's like, and yeah, sometimes I feel like I never even existed really. And it's like it's great.
Aww. Poor Gambit.
But yeah.
Poor Gambit.
So that's
Yep. And then X-23 was there.
Right, and then X-23 showed up. Presumably the same X-23 from Logan, because it was Daphne Keane again.
That's what it seemed like. Because she had the same sunglasses that she stole from a gas station.
Yes, she has the sunglasses.
Logan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The pink sort of tie-dye looking sunglasses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And let's see what else. There's lots of very violent, bloody fight scenes, as you would expect from a Deadpool movie. There's a big old fight between Deadpool Wolverine and a bunch of other Deadpool variants, which was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
We got Ryan Reynolds playing Nice Pool, who is just like Deadpool but nice and also without regenerative abilities.
The one Deadpool that doesn't get to regenerate is Nice Pool.
And the also the one that Deadpool Prime decides to use as a human shield, right? It's great. Anyway, very very fun movie. And we got of course like the big like the best part of this movie is Hugh Jackman, right? Like he always knocks it out of the park, and I mean pretty much anything he's in. But as Wolverine, he just really has this character down, and it's very clear that he has like he's always had a great balance of like dramatic and comedic and action chops, and all of that really shows in this movie. Yes, did a really great job, and we got to see him in. We got to see a bunch of different Wolverine variants, obviously, but the biggest exciting thing is that we got to see him in his classic, iconic yellow and blue X-Men suit, and then near the end of the movie, we see
cowl
him
too.
Yes, we see him bring up the cowl near the end of the movie, and like so he's like full on classic Wolverine, which is awesome.
And it looked great. It looked so good.
It did look really good. And that was Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like about the movie that I wanted to talk about, but
I like that in the Deadpool core, which is like the big old fight scene between Deadpool, Wolverine, and then all the other random Deadpools from the Void. There were a lot of like cool little like kind of cameos in that. So like they had Lady Pool, who was played by Blake Lively. And there were a lot of Blake Lively.
Like I assumed that was probably the case, but
I watched the credits. Her name was in the credits.
Okay, cool.
So she was Lady Pool, and there were a lot of other Blake Lively references, like Gossip Girl and that kind of stuff. Like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Blake Lively is married to Ryan Reynolds. So
yes, they had Headpool, which was just a floating head of Deadpool, and he's wearing like a propeller hat, and that's how he flies around. And it was voiced by Nathan Fillion.
I didn't know that. That's great. Love that.
Yeah,
love Nathan Fillion.
They also
in
had
anything.
Welsh Pool. Yes,
Welsh Pool.
They had Welsh Pool, which was just Deadpool with a Welsh flag on his chest, but he was played by one of the players for Wrexham FC, which is the Welsh soccer team that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney own.
Oh, neat.
And apparently one of Tom Holland's brothers was also a Deadpool.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. And then there was Kid Pool and Baby Pool.
Oh yeah, Kid Pool, Baby Pool. There was Canada Pool, which
Kid
was
Pool
I think
and Baby Pool were Kidpool and Babypool were played by two of Ryan Reynolds' kids, or voiced by.
Oh,
them, at
really?
least.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So many cameos, so many things.
I know.
And there was Dogpool, of course, which was...
I love Dogpool.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins.
Excellent. Mary Poppins, Dogpool. Excellent.
Yep. There are a few others. I mean, there was like a cowboy pool. There was
Yes.
I keep seeing images online of, I didn't notice it in the theater when I saw it, but there's a Deadpool dressed as the Greatest Showman.
That's awesome. I remember seeing in the credits that The Greatest Show was like played at some point in the movie. I'm guessing it was like during the scene when they were like fighting in the car, and it like they hit the radio a few times, and it like goes through a few songs.
Probably. Yeah.
It was probably one of those.
Yeah, I missed it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, excellent. Just super fun experience, I would say overall. I loved the also they during the ending credits they had a montage of behind the scenes footage from the various 20th Century Fox Marvel movies set to Good Riddance by Green Day. Which was excellent. Very, very Deadpool, very kind of like funny, self-aware, while also being kind of actually touching and neat. Like after watching that and coming away from this movie, I felt like the way I described it to my friends was like, this movie is for the 20th Century Fox Marvel movies what Spider-Man No Way Home was for the Sony Marvel movies, in that it's kind of a tribute and a wrap-up kind of those like character stories that didn't get to finish their stories, and like kind of an acknowledgement of them and honoring them, and also just lots of fan service, you know?
Yeah, it was great. It was so good. I loved that a lot.
Yeah. So if you've seen the first two Deadpool movies and you liked them, you'll probably like this. If you don't like the other ones, you definitely won't like this. And
that's correct.
Yeah. So that's Deadpool and Wolverine. That was fun. It's glad I saw it.
It was fun. Well, that's just about all that I've been up to, and I know you've also watched it. But is there anything else you wanted to?
Not a whole lot of
you want to talk more about?
Yeah, not a whole lot of like interesting stuff for me this week. I did finally get my. I ordered this forever ago, the Baldur's Gate 3 like physical deluxe edition for PS5, because it didn't get a physical release initially. It was a fully digital release, and then after it was super duper successful, they decided to do a self-published run of physical copies of the game for PC, Xbox, and PS5. And so I ordered mine like months and months ago, and then this past week it finally arrived in a big old box, and it comes with lots of cool goodies like you get the soundtrack on CD, you get some like patches and like 5 sticker sheets and a map of the world, and a bunch of cool stuff like that. But the main thing I wanted was just the actual just game, to have a physical version of the game on my shelf, and also a way to be able to play it in my living room on my TV. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Is I went back to my old playthrough, because one cool thing that they did, that Larian did with this game, is they incorporated cross save so that you can actually take one playthrough across all platforms. So I can like play it on PC, and then it syncs to the cloud, and then I can go to my PS5 and continue the same game save there. So that's what I've been doing.
Nice.
So that's great.
That's cool.
Yes. So excellent game. I talked to a bunch of animals, because I have to speak with animals, and I spoke to a strange shape-shifting ox who wants to get into Baldur's Gate in order to maybe murder people. It's not clear, but I helped him out anyway. He turned himself into an apple, and then I put him in my pocket, and then walked into Baldur's Gate, and it was like, quest complete, and then he disappeared. And so maybe I'll meet him again later. Who knows? But it's just so many fun, silly shenanigans. Yeah, I love talking to animals in Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, just still definitely enjoying that. I'm glad to be back in it, because I haven't played Baldur's Gate since like January, when I got to Act 3, and I was like 90 hours into the game. And I was like, I think I'm ready to take a break right now and try and play some other games, because I could play this forever. So
yeah. Oh wow.
But now I'm back on it, and I'm loving it.
Sweet.
Beyond that, I've very slowly been continuing to do a little bit of guitar, noodling around, and I know 2 chords now. So
which
that's
chords?
Neat. A and D. I assume
Classic.
That means major. I don't know. Yeah, those were the introductory chords they taught us. So that's what I know.
Nice.
And
you can play Free Falling now.
Oh, can I?
Because those are the only chords in freefall, really.
Aren't there's at least 3 chords in freefall, isn't there? Because it's like literally at the beginning of the song, they go through 3 chords, don't they?
No, it's just kind of like you're just picking your pinky up and putting it down on a couple different chords.
See, I'm learning.
You're just kind of doodling around those chords. Yeah, see?
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you got the D guitar shape, and then you just put your pinky down to put on the high E string on that 3rd fret, and then there's that bring, the little kind of like half step up, bring. That's where you're putting the pinky down, and then bring, and you drop down back to the D, and then bring is A.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's free fall.
I know how to play song now, everybody. Sam taught me.
Look at you.
Just right now. So that's cool.
Wow. Look at me. Look at me go. We did it. Look at us. Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? I didn't. Not
who'd
me.
Have thought? Not me. What else? Anything else? Oh,
I mean
we got a release date for the least exciting Star Wars thing coming out. Skeleton Crew. It's going to be
Sam continues to dunk on Skeleton Crew before it comes out.
Yeah. Oh, is this mostly just like a roundabout way of just dunking on Jude Law? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah. Honestly, I'm not super hyped for it, but like,
I know. It's like get out of Star Wars. What are you doing? But there's a cute little elephant kid. I'm excited about him.
Yeah, we get a Max Rebo child, basically.
Yeah.
It's Max Rebo's species. What if it's actually a young Max Rebo? That'd be great.
Do we know where does Skeleton Crew take place in the timeline? Do we know at all? Is it like?
I think we know.
Is it Mando Ahsoka era?
I think it's
okay,
earlier than that.
Up.
I'm also looking it up. So
I'm gonna look it up.
Where does Skeleton Crew fit in the timeline? Takes us during the Mandalorian era. So yeah, it's not Max Rebo. Okay. It is a different child of his species.
It's his son. It is his son. Confirmed.
Yeah.
Max Rebo's kid. Confirmed.
Confirmed. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a release date, which is... What is it?
December 3rd.
December 3rd. And we also got a bunch of, the first actual images from the show. So we know what it looks like now.
Yep. It looks exactly the same as the other stuff we've seen.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like... it
certainly looks like Star Wars.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, and it's Jude Law running around with a bunch of children.
Yep.
Jaleel White's gonna be in it? What?
Who?
Jaleel White. He was Urkel on Family Matters.
What?
And also the voice of Sonic in the first Sonic animated series.
Are you kidding me? That's
apparently
amazing.
He's been cast.
I hope he's the bad guy. It'd be great.
That'd be great. It's Urkel. It's actually just Urkel. And also, looks like Nick Frost is going to be in it. He's going to be a voice of a droid. So that's neat.
That is good. I like that. That'll be fun.
I think that's all the Star Wars-y news that happened this week, right? That was basically...
I think so.
So...
I think you're right. Should we do a Star Wars?
Yeah, I think it's time to get into this Star War, this quality Star War. As we said before, this week we're talking about the Clone Wars Season 4, Episodes 7 through 10, the Umbara arc. It's so good. I'm so excited to talk about this. Sam, where does these episodes take place in the timeline?
20 BBY.
20. Amazing.
20.
So yeah, this arc, I think, a couple things. One is I think it works really well as like these 4 episodes together feel like one cohesive. It feels like a movie. It's like movie length, and it's like compelling and like cinematic, and has lots of great fight scenes, and it feels good. It's just I'm very happy that we watched this because it's just fun.
Yes.
Yep. And
question.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I just haven't noticed this in other Star Wars, like other Clone Wars episodes, but it was like in Letterboxd aspect ratio. Is that new, or am I just...
Literally every episode has been like that.
Okay, never mind. I'm dumb. Cool. Sweet.
Okay. Yeah. No,
took me 3.5 seasons to figure that out, but here we are. All right. We're here.
You know what? We figured it out eventually. We got there.
We did.
Yeah. So, yeah, just great really, I loved sitting down watching this all the way because it just felt like, I'm glad we're doing this in one episode, because it does feel like, one cohesive story, and as most of the arcs do, but like in this case, it just felt really, maybe it's just because it's so good. That's the other thing I wanted to say, is that this is one of the best arcs in Clone Wars, in my opinion. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
So many reasons, from like the lighting and the cinematography and some of the action sequences are all really well choreographed. There's some great writing, great performances, a really cool idea for a story. Just, it's great. And Pong Krell, one of the best villains in Star Wars.
Oh my gosh, yeah. This arc is so good. Like, I've seen this arc before, but I still felt my blood pressure rise for most of the arc. It was just like so stressful and infuriating, and just written so well that like it also didn't help that my daughter was throwing a tantrum for the first half, just refusing to nap, and then just melting down in her room, but then just like passed out, and then we couldn't get her wake up after a nap. She's like so tired. I was like, Mary, you need to wake up now, or you're not gonna be able to like go to bed at a reasonable hour. And then she's just like, okay, got up and then went and laid down on the couch. Like, Marion, what are we doing? Anyway,
well,
enough about Marion. We should let's dive in.
Yeah. All right. So the first episode is called "Darkness on Umbara," and the moral is the first step towards loyalty is trust. Episode 7, Darkness on Umbara. Defensive defense. War in the expansion region. As the Separatists tighten their grip over vital but isolated supply routes, the Republic launches a lightning strike into a remote ghost nebula to control the strategic system of Umbara. Republic forces smash through the Separatist blockade in an effort to claim the shadowy world. Aboard their command ship, Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi discuss their attack strategy against the Umbaran capital city, which is defended by both Confederate and local militia forces. Joined by Rex and Fives, Anakin prepares to repel enemy reinforcements striking against Obi-Wan's joint attack with Jedi Masters Tin and Pong Krell. Amidst heavy flak fire, the Republic AT-RT forces take out the Umbaran tanks, allowing the transports to set down their load of clone troopers. But the assault is hampered by the planet's natural murkiness and foggy conditions, as well as the local wildlife, one of which nearly claims the lives of Fives and Hardcase, though Fives kills it with a thermal detonator. When Anakin Skywalker and his clones take a break before preparing for their mission, the Umbarans execute a sneak attack, forcing them to retreat. An airstrike by Master Krell saves them just in time, but Krell approaches Anakin with a disconcerting message. Anakin is to return to Coruscant and meet with Supreme Chancellor Palpatine for reasons unknown. Reluctant to leave his troops in the midst of battle, Anakin nevertheless relinquishes command over his troops to Master Krell and makes the journey to the Republic capital. As soon as Skywalker departs, Krell adopts a very derisive, condescending stance towards the clone troopers, showing them no respect or consideration. His harsh determination to complete the mission at all costs gradually raises the ire of the clone troopers. When they reach the capital, Krell insists on a change in attack plan, opting on a full frontal assault on the capital's main road, instead of a series of preemptive surprise attacks against the enemy's defenses, a course which would expose them to heavy enemy attack. And, as Rex feared, the battalion begins to run into enemy traps with mines on the main road and an all-out ambush which claims their lives of many troopers. Rex orders his troopers to retreat in order to attain an advantageous fighting position. Though frustrated by the clones' retreat, Krell ordered additional troopers and AT-RT drivers to save Rex and his men. After they repel the natives, Krell immediately criticizes Rex for retreating and compromising his plans. Rex and Five stand up to him, voicing their protests and pointing out that, while they are aware of the importance of their mission, they are also concerned about the welfare of their men. Krell eventually gives Rex a dubious compliment, but before Rex and Fives have the time to contemplate Krell's words more thoroughly, the Umbarans launch a counterattack, forcing them to refocus on the battle. End of the episode. So this is mostly a lot of just like fighting and kind of set up this episode. We get a lot of really cool fight sequences. We get the opening sequence is really cool with all like the transport shuttles like landing and like aerial strikes and lots of ground infantry gunfire running and shouting, and it felt very like a war movie. And it felt very kind of Saving Private Ryan.
It does.
Very cool. Very fun.
And we get some cool scenes with Anakin like leading his men into battle. And that's kind of like to set up this contrast with Pong Krell, who's just like always kind of standing on like some high like point, watching them from behind.
Yes,
out,
that's pointed out later in in
orders from
later
behind.
episodes.
Yeah.
Anakin leads them into battle, and also like is clearly like trusts his men, and before he leaves, he like introduces Pong Krell to Rex, and he's like, "This is one of the finest soldiers you ever meet," and then immediately you get the contrast of how Pong Krell just does not care about the clones at all. And
right.
Yeah, so he's immediately unlikable. he's very cool though, because like he's the same species as Dexter Jester, so he's got 4 big arms. He's a big, gigantic man. He's got this big, like, booming, deep, impressive voice, and he's got 2 double-bladed lightsabers that he fights with, which is super cool.
So cool.
It's
so
one of
cool.
Some of the coolest lightsaber combat we've seen. Is this guy.
He's like if the Hulk had 4 arms and 2 double-bladed lightsabers, that's
basically
the vibe that you get from Pong Krell.
Yes. Yeah. So, do we ever? I don't think they ever say in this arc, but like, do we ever find out later like why Anakin was called away from the battle, or is it just like left to interpretation? Because I feel like I would not be surprised if this was like a specific plan by Palpatine to be like, I don't know, to allow this kind of chaos to be sown. But maybe it's
I don't know. I think it was maybe. I don't think it's coincidental, because I didn't notice that before, like the first time I watched this arc, back when I first watched Clone Wars. I didn't notice that like it was Palpatine who like pulled Anakin away. And also kind of the like, clearly Pong Krell has some like dark side inclinations and stuff, as we kind of learn throughout the rest of this arc. And I'm wondering if that was like he was in cahoots with either Dooku or Palpatine, and like they wanted to separate Anakin from his men, because he took Anakin's like Anakin's soldiers.
Yeah.
So, and then like it was clear that like they did not want Anakin soldiers to make it. was pretty clear. And so I'm wondering if that was like Palpatine's idea from the beginning, was to kind of like another way to like manipulate Anakin was like to take his like trusted like soldiers away from him. So kind of like force him to like,
that could very well be it. I think
it
could also be like a less direct thing, where maybe Krell wasn't like directly in contact with any of the Sith, but he just like I assume that Palpatine knows to some extent what Pong Krell's deal is, and if nothing else, was like, it would be interesting to see what this guy would do when put in this situation, and like maybe he just wanted to like kind of poke the bear, kind of
just see what's up with this guy.
Yeah. So very, very cool, very interesting. One of the things I like about this arc, and we'll get to it more later, but like I love the sort of the way that this arc ends up going, because I feel like in the start of this episode, the sense that I got like when I first watched this episode, this arc, was like that it was going to be a story about Pong Krell coming in and having a very different like leadership style and like understanding of how war is supposed to work, and how your relationship with your soldiers is supposed to work, and but then like over time they would kind of both come to some sort of understanding, and like they would learn from each other, like Rex and the clones would learn like to learn how to kind of work under a different leadership style and learn to appreciate a different kind of strategy, and also Pong Krell would like learn to appreciate the individuality of the clones and the advantages of like creativity or something. That's kind of where if I were just to watch this first episode, that's where I would kind of guess we would be going, but it does not go that way. It turns out that he is just actually an evil psychopath, which is so cool to me. It's kind of this subversion of expectations, for me at least.
Exactly. Yeah, I think if Pong Krell was actually a good Jedi Master, that's what would have happened.
Yes.
But he's not, so it didn't.
Yeah, and it's so much more interesting this way too. Like it is a fascinating character, and we'll get more into that.
Yes.
But yes,
Indeed.
Right, we're gonna move on to the next episode, part 2.
But I am. The next episode, the moral of this episode is the path of ignorance is guided by fear. Punishable offense. Turning the tide! As separatist control over a vital but isolated supply routes expands, Republic forces invade a key planet, the darkened world of Umbara. In the midst of helping Obi-Wan Kenobi's battalion conquering the Umbaran capital city, Anakin Skywalker is called away to Coruscant. His battalion is temporarily placed under the command of Jedi General Pong Krell, a shrewd and temperamental leader. Krell's reckless strategy forced Captain Rex to retreat with his platoons in disastrous defeat. The clone troopers of the 501st are hard-pressed in holding their current position under the relentless Umbaran attacks with the ground and the air, and are unable to break through to support Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan asks Master Pong Krell to assault a nearby airbase, which is being used as a supply staging area for the capital's defenses. The battalion regroups and proceeds towards the airbase. Citing the urgency of Obi-Wan's current situation, Krell discards Rex's suggestion to scout for a secure route, ordering the troops to advance along a central gorge, despite Rex's protest that the narrow route will only allow advances by single squads. This order divides the clone troopers, as some begin to openly criticize Krell's misguided strategy, while others press for him to finish the mission, with Fives being the most vocal of the protesters. In an attempt to quell the men, Rex takes Fives aside, urging him to promote unity among the clone troopers. Despite Fives' assertion that Krell's strategies are too costly, Rex insists that it is their duty as soldiers to follow orders, even at the cost of their own lives. Pressed by Fives, Rex finally breaks off the discussion, citing loyalty to his code as his only response. Rex divides the battalion into separate groups under the leadership of Fives, Hardcase himself, and they begin to make their way down the gorge. Once right well underway, however, the lead group is ambushed by several caterpillar tanks, which cause heavy casualties among their ranks. These things are so cool.
They're so cool and so scary and neat. Yeah, I love them.
Very scary. Yeah, they're basically like, I don't know, like Alaskan bullworms if they had
That's exactly what I was
guns on
thinking.
top of them.
It's an Alaskan bullworm!
Because they just like they can burrow very fast underground and then just pop up out of nowhere, and then they're like, it's like a big old centipede thing. Mm-hmm. And it's got like a tank cannon on each little segment of the centipede, and yes. It's bad. It's bad. With the combined use of rocket launchers and thermal detonators set up as landmines, the troopers eventually turn the tide against these monstrosities. As the troops continue to advance, they encounter the next hazard in the form of Umbaran spider cannons, whose heavy firepower forces them to retreat yet again. These things are just like, you thought the caterpillar tanks were bad. Wait till you see these giant crabs with like scorpion giant cannons.
Crabs. Honestly, all of the Umbaran tech looks really cool. I love the look.
It's very cool, very bug-like, very scary. The visual design in this episode, great. Wish we saw more of this kind of stuff. All right. True. So the Umbaran spider cannons, whose heavy firepower forces them into retreat yet again. Krell refuses to accept Rex's retreat or send him reinforcements, stubbornly insisting that he and his men are not to give any ground to the enemy. The battalion sustains heavy casualties, and the mobile cannons prove impervious to their rocket launchers, making any further assault seems hopeless. Faced with imminent defeat, Rex quickly develops an alternative scheme to Krell's plan, sending Fives and Hardcase on a stealth mission to the airbase, with the intent to commandeer a pair of Umbaran starfighters to use against the tanks. When Rex explains his plans to Krell, the Jedi Master furiously denounces the idea and orders Rex to resume a full frontal assault. Rex and his clones are unable to advance to the airbase due to heavy resistance, but they still continue to battle the Umbaran assault tanks. Rex orders the clones to stand their ground as long as possible, buying Fives and Hardcase enough time to complete their objective. One thing I want to point out is a lot of this arc, like, Rex is clearly the main character of this arc and is
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say he's the MVP of this arc, and this is a big like learning moment for this. This whole thing is like a learning thing for Rex of just like where his priorities lie and learning to protect his men and like at all costs.
Yeah, moving away a
we
little
see
bit from
him,
the simplicity of good soldiers follow orders to something a little more nuanced.
Yeah, and it hasn't mentioned this clone trooper yet, but I think we kind of see this tension in Rex between the mentality of Fives, who's just like immediately like Krell's nuts. There's no way I'm following him, but we still got to get the job done. To this other clone trooper who he's not mentioned yet, who will probably later, named Dogma, which very aptly named. Like he is the embodiment of good soldiers follow orders to a T, no questions asked. Very much a teacher's pet kind of vibe. And we see Rex kind of like being kind of like in the middle of this tug of war between their dueling ideals, and we slowly see over the time Fives winning out. But also, we'll never mind. We'll get to it.
Yeah. I love the speaking of like Fives in particular. This is, I think, the first time we really see like Fives being sort of anti-authority a little bit, and like being willing to question things, and that comes up very significantly later for him. So it's we see that come up later. So this is another important moment for him, I think.
Yes. In the meantime, Fives and Hardcase reach the compound perimeter, where they encounter a sensor wall. After planting explosives at the base of a tree, the two clones scale it and evade the fence. Fives triggers the explosives as a distraction, and both men quickly take possession of a pair of Umbaran fighters. The holographic controls prove difficult to master, but after some harrowing maneuvers, the clones manage to get the fighters airborne and make for the battlefield. The commandeered fighters arrive just as Rex and his men are on the brink of defeat. The superior firepower of the Umbaran aircraft makes quick work of the tanks, with the enemy vehicles subdued in short order, allowing the remaining clones to advance and secure the airbase. Krell eyes the successful stunt with cold acknowledgement and orders Oppo and the rest of the battalion to move out. At the base, Rex praises Five and Hardcase before being confronted by General Krell. After reporting the success of the mission, Krell proves dismissive of the clones' losses, declaring it the price of victory before departing, leaving Rex indignant but silent. Fives remarks to Rex that it is the general who is refusing to realize the cost of his orders. End of the second episode. Is this the first time we've seen Oppo?
Maybe. Hold on, let me check. Oppo, yeah.
Nice.
Cool. But this is also, he's only in this arc, so.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. I don't know who you're thinking of, but yeah.
I don't either. I just.
That's cool. Also, I was looking at Oppo's page, and in the trivia section, it says, the arrow on Oppo's helmet is a nod to Baker voicing Appa, a character from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Which is great. I didn't put that. I remember seeing a clone trooper with an arrow on his helmet, and I was like, oh, that's kind of like Aang. I wonder if that's a reference. And apparently, yes. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I had no. I like Appa a lot. I think it's cool that we get a little Avatar: Last Airbender because D. Bradley Baker was the voice of Appa, and also Dave Filoni was the showrunner for Avatar: Last Airbender. So
he was not the showrunner, but he directed some episodes, or he worked on the show. He was
working on the show. Got it. Okay. Anyway,
yes,
there's a Filoni connection.
He got his start, I think.
Yeah. Got it.
Correct.
Cool beans.
Yes. I'm also looking at the trivia section for this episode, and it says when Hardcase is climbing up to get over the fence, he says, "I prefer a straight fight over all this sneaking around." This would be said years later by Han Solo when he partakes in sneaking aboard the Death Star in Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. So it's a nice little thing. Yeah. So that's cool.
Shall we go on to the next episode?
All right. Yep. Third episode. Plan of Descent. Real. Yep. Also, I wanted to mention, I just love the design of the Umbaran ships. Like those.
So cool.
Like they're they're weird looking and they're cool and they're like, I love how unique they are, but they still feel Star Warsy, and I like the idea of like a holographic control thing, and they're in a little bubble. It's just, I don't know, it's cool. It's cool design.
And they float around all weird, like they just kind of like don't like subscribe to the laws of physics.
They're not. They're like kind of hovering things rather than like planes. You know.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's different.
All right. The moral of Plan of Descent is: the wise man leads, the strong man follows. Invasion in peril. Republic forces struggle to take Umbara, a hostile planet completely enshrouded in darkness. Jedi General Pong Krell and Captain Rex lead a battalion against a constant attack by a brutal enemy. Krell's aggressive and reckless strategies backfire, killing many clones. Despite the Jedi General's dangerous tactics, Captain Rex's squad successfully captures a critical airbase. This further fuels the mistrust of Krell's leadership, dividing his men. While the clone troopers prepare to secure the airbase, Obi-Wan Kenobi calls in with further bad news, as his own forces are pushed back by long-range missile fire and the Umbaran forces, deprived of their airbase. And the Umbaran forces, deprived of their airbase, are now being resupplied by a support ship guarded by a strong fleet contingent. Before he can give more information, the Umbarans jam the transmission, whereupon Krell decides to march directly to the capital city to end the war on this planet, dismissing any attempt to recontact Obi-Wan and coordinate a joint attack, as Rex tries to suggest. When Rex briefs his men about the impending new mission, the troopers begin to argue amongst themselves. Some, including Rex, if reluctantly, and Dogma, maintain their loyalty to Krell as a Jedi General, but others, especially Fives and Jesse, openly question his military competence, which is obviously clouded by his own stubbornness and lack of regard for his men. While discussing the dilemma with Rex, Fives informs the captain that the clones have access to the Umbaran fighters and access codes, giving them the capability to sneak past enemy defenses undetected. Rex is persuaded and forwards the plan to Krell, but the Basilisk... Is that the name of the species? The Basilisk?
Yes.
Interesting. The Basilisk Jedi refuses to waste any men on what he calls frivolous adventures. A disappointed Rex relays the news to the squad. However, Fives insists that they go on with the sneak attack nevertheless. This begins to create friction among the squad, with most of the clones agreeing with Fives, with the notable exception of Dogma, who grows suspicious of his dissenting brothers. After leaving the barracks, Fives confronts Rex, challenging him to standing for Krell's plan. Though visibly conflicted, Rex attempts to convince Fives that they are honor-bound to follow their orders and consider themselves as part of the greater picture, without questioning. Growing frustrated with Rex, Fives insists that he cannot follow orders that he knows are wrong, and allow others to suffer as a result, expressing the sentiment that he cares more for the lives of his friends than doing what? than doing what Krell asks, I guess. That sentence ended weird on Wikipedia.
Yep.
Fives breaks off the conversation, stating that he intends to find accomplices for his plan, leaving Rex increasingly disturbed and torn. In the hangar, Fives and Hardcase attempt a sneak crash course with one of the Umbaran fighters. However, the practice run literally becomes a crash when the fighter proves too hard to control for Hardcase, causing damage and disruption to the facility. Finally, one of their fellow troopers and a missile accidentally fired by Hardcase give the game away. Fives and Hardcase just barely manage to explain the mayhem away with the booby trap left in the fighter's programming, but this only serves to reinforce Krell's argument that the fighter infiltration mission will lead to disaster, and he officially discards the plan, prompting Rex to eye the dissenters with exasperation. Despite the setback, Fives, Hardcase, and Jesse decide to go through with their scheme nevertheless. Fives lays out a plan to attack the supply ship's main reactor from the inside, recalling that as a boy, Anakin Skywalker had performed the same tactic before. Which I love that they referenced that. Yeah, like
Phantom Menace reference.
General Skywalker when he was just a kid. Yeah, he blew up a thing. Yeah. Before they leave, Fives alerts Rex, telling him that he has every intention of going through with his plan because he believes it's right. Rex, realizing nothing he can say will talk them out of this, warns that he will not be able to cover for them when they are caught. The rogue troopers commandeer 3 of the Umbaran fighters and take off towards the supply fleet. In the meantime, Dogma notices that Fives and his cohorts are not in the barracks and convinces Tup to join him in alerting General Krell, warning him that to not do so would make them complicit in the crime. Meanwhile, Krell, who is as yet unaware of the true situation, proceeds to reprimand Rex about the unauthorized start of the fighters. Despite his earlier warning to Fives, Rex cunningly explains that the fighters were launched for a reconnaissance mission for the upcoming assault on the capital, allaying Krell's suspicions for the moment. But then he spots Dogma and Tup attempting to make their way to Krell and manages to turn them away at the last moment. Fives, Hardcase, and Jesse arrive at their target, but only to find the supply fleet under heavy attack from Republic Space Forces. They manage to sneak their way into the supply ship's main hangar, but a battle droid eventually discovers the pilot's true nature and raises the alarm. The reactor is put on ray shields immediately, foiling the clones' attempt to blast them and leaving them to face an approaching droid interception force. Hardcase spontaneously detaches a missile pod from his fighter and, exiting his vessel, guides it by hand into the reactor system, sacrificing himself to ensure the mission's success. In the arms of... Fives and Jesse make a daring escape from the exploding ship, while Rex and Tup watch the explosion from the ground, prompting a proud smile from Rex. Fives and Jesse make it back to the airbase, where they, Rex, and Tup share a brief moment of remembrance for Hardcase's passing. The squad is confronted by Oppo and a few other troopers who inform Rex that the rogue clones are to be taken to Krell. In order to protect Fives and Jesse, Rex attempts to take the blame upon himself, whereupon Fives attempts to do the same in favor of Rex. But Krell proves unforgiving in any case and promises harshly to have both Fives and Jesse court-martialed and executed for their act of insubordination.
Good lord.
End of episode. Does he say executed, or because like at the beginning of the next episode?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Okay, but okay. Well, maybe in the next episode, what happens is that he's like, let's just kill them now instead of going through a process.
Right. He's like, okay. He's like, this insubordination will eventually, like, if we go through proper channels, will eventually lead to this. But then,
right.
In the next episode, he's like, no, we're just doing it now. All right.
Yeah. Another reference to A New Hope happens in this episode. Just a quote reference where the Krell is like talking to one of the clones over the comms, and he goes, "Who is this? What's your CT number?" When Han Solo
what's your TK number?
Same thing, right? Yeah.
TK421. Why aren't you at your post?
Why'd you at your post? Everything's fine. This is fine. False alarm.
Look, we got company. All right.
Nothing really to talk about more about this episode other than rest in peace.
It's kind of set up for the last one.
Yeah. Thank you, Hardcase, for your dang sacrifice.
Thank you,
right.
Hardcase.
Yeah. Final episode: Carnage of Krell. Oh my god.
The moral of this episode is our actions define our legacy. Friends. Where are we? Where's the thing?
It's right there. It's the same place it always is.
Okay, it looks different this time. Okay.
It's wider for some reason, yeah.
Yeah, why is it wide? It's like, why is it big? Alright. Defense.
They fly now.
While fighting to control the I'm sorry. They fly now. Aging.
You're welcome.
While fighting to control the darkened world of Umbara, Anakin Skywalker's battalion is temporarily placed under the command of Jedi General Pong Krell. As Krell's disastrous strategies result in increasing casualties, his men begin to turn against him. Captain Rex struggles to balance loyalty between his commander and his fellow men. Under his watch, Fives and Jesse disobey Krell's orders, resulting in their court-martial. They fly now. Captain Rex meets Krell in his command tower and asks him to reconsider Fives and Jesse's court-martial. But Krell refuses to back down on the grounds that the two traitors' insubordination will inspire others to rebel against his command as well. Again, demonstrating his high disregard for the troopers, Krell claims that they don't have any more time to waste, and orders Rex to organize an immediate execution. Rex descends to the brig to retrieve Fives and Jesse and informs them of their impending fate, an announcement they do not take lightly. Rex feels helpless to resist, though he assures the prisoners that he will not let Krell's injustice go unpunished. In apparent acceptance, Fives tells Rex that they knew that they would be punished for their actions, an admission which Jesse does not appreciate. Fives and Jesse are escorted out and placed in front of a firing squad led by Dogma, who is the only one who shows no discomfort with the idea of executing fellow clones. As the men take aim, Fives suddenly appeals to his brothers, telling them that they are not unthinking droids, but sentient and intelligent human beings. And I think that is kind of like the whole crux of this thing. Is like, you're not droids. You're people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fives argues that the clones are men, who not only follow orders and serve loyally, but also must be trusted to make their own decisions when their orders are clearly wrong. Disregarding Fives' appeal, Dogma orders the execution squad to fire, but the clones intentionally miss. Despite Dogma's energetic appeals to carry out the order, He finds no support among the firing squad or with Rex, who merely replies, "Good luck finding anyone to do it," and orders Fives and Jesse to be released. After the failed execution, General Krell orders Rex and Dogma to the tower, addressing the former as making a big mistake by crossing him. Before Rex and Krell can come to blows over the matter, the tower receives a transmission from a clone scout informing the Umbarans that the Umbarans are preparing another offensive, possibly with the aid of clone armor and weapons captured from a platoon. Krell decides on a preemptive strike. The troops move out, but are ambushed by what they believe to be enemies in disguise. Rex ventures across the enemy lines, investigating the corpse of one of the supposedly disguised Umbarans, but to his unutterable horror, the soldier turns out to be a clone trooper from the 212th Attack Battalion. Realizing that they have been deceived, Rex breaks into a run across the battlefield, frantically ordering his men to remove their helmets and reveal their true identity to their misled comrades. The fighting grinds to a halt, but both sides have already taken heavy casualties. Among them, the 212th platoon leader, Waxer. Waxer informs Rex that General Krell had given the same orders to his men as he did to Rex, claiming that the enemy was wearing clone armor before he dies from his wounds.
Okay, for couple things.
Yeah.
First of all, Waxer is we've met him before. He was in the he was on Ryloth, and he met the little the little child Numa. Yeah, the little Twilight Numa, and you can see the drawing of Numa on his helmet when he's like lying there before he dies. So it's like again like going through this show and talking about it on the podcast has made me notice things, and like I have a stronger connection to characters that I didn't before. Yeah, you know,
and we like Waxer. Cool. We like Waxer so much, and it just sucks.
And now he's dead.
Another reason Pong Krell's the worst.
Yes, the other thing is this. One of the coolest, most chilling moments in all of Star Wars to me is this reveal where it's like, where they discover that they're actually killing their own men, their fellow clones, and it's like just that scene of Rex realizing what happened and then just like running and yelling frantically and everybody looking around in horror and realizing what's happening, and it's just like oh my god, it gives me chills every time. It's so good and so.
It was horrific.
God. And of course that's the moment when everybody's like, Pong Krell, he's bad, actually.
This is like the breaking point for everybody. At this point, they all...
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, there's no
redeeming this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Shaken and stunned, the troopers of the 501st Legion and the 212th rally under Rex. Despite the potentially treasonous nature of the act, Rex orders the volunteers to apprehend and arrest Krell for treachery against the Republic. They return to the airbase, release Jesse and Fives, and confront Krell in the command tower. Unperturbed, Krell flippantly admits to ordering the clones against each other before he attacks, cutting down several of the clones in an intense close-quarters fight before he smashes through the tower windows and flees towards the jungle, just like the Hulk. As Rex's men it was just very Hulk-like the way he just like Krell smash. Rex's men begin to give pursuit, Dogma, who has deserted the group beforehand, intercepts them, holding them at gunpoint and denouncing them as traitors. In a tense standoff, Rex argues that despite their engineering, the clones are not droids and that they must make their own decisions. After a final warning from Tup, Dogma is arrested, and Rex continues leading his men in pursuit of General Krell. While the clones search the jungles, Krell ambushes his pursuers. Tup is thrown aside during the carnage and lands near a native Vixus. They're like these like the forest dwelling version of the Sarlacc pit kind of thing. They have like all these big tentacles flying out, and like it kind of looks like a Venus flytrap in a Sarlacc pit had a baby. And that's basically what it is.
Yes, that's accurate. It's very accurate. Yes,
it looks like the it looks a lot like the thing from Mario, like the the piranha plants. It looks like a piranha plant.
Yeah, it's like a piranha plant, but flat and with tentacles.
But flat and scaly.
Scaly.
He and Rex lure the traitorous Jedi to the carnivorous plant, resulting in Krell being shaken down by the monster and stunned by Tup. In the brig, Krell admits to Rex's questioning that, having foreseen a rise of a new order in the galaxy and seeking to gain from it, he has abandoned his Jedi principles in favor of a self-serving ideology. He also reveals his intention of sabotaging the Republic war effort by giving away vital information to the Umbarans, with the ultimate aim of being recognized by Count Dooku and becoming his new apprentice. Dogma turns against Krell and denounces him as a traitor, but an unrepentant Krell responds that he merely took advantage of his blind loyalty. After leaving the prison, Rex and his squad are informed by Appa that Krell has sabotaged the airbase's communications and had been feeding them misinformation. Obi-Wan Kenobi's men have long since captured the capital, but the surviving Umbarans are now on their way back to the airbase. Fearing they might not be able to hold the airbase, thereby allowing Krell to escape and use his knowledge of the Republic against them, Rex and his men decide that the renegade Jedi is too dangerous to be left alive. Returning to the prison, Fives releases Dogma, and Rex prepares to execute Krell. Krell taunts the captain, confidently asserting that Rex is unable to actually fire the killing shot. Rex hesitates and is mocked by Krell. However, the basilisk is cut off mid-sentence by a shot in the back by Dogma, using a pistol slipped from Fives' holster. Dogma then affirms his actions, angered that he was fooled into killing his brothers. As the clones regroup at the airbase, Fives informs Rex that Obi-Wan's men have rerouted the remaining Umbarans and secured all sectors, marking the end of the invasion. Dogma is taken into custody, receiving a nod of affirmation from Rex for his act. As Fives and Rex watch the wounded being cared for, Rex questions the reasons for the war. Fives attempts to reassure Rex by stating that the war will end one day, to which Rex responds by questioning what will happen to the clones when it does end. End of the Umbara arc.
Whew. Jeez.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So many...
This is...
Okay, this whole episode, so many cool things happen.
Yes.
The whole sequence with... Okay, so first of all, when... okay, so, like... so we already talked about the whole, like... They were told to shoot each other, unbeknownst to them. That whole horrific sequence. Incredible, chilling, gives you goosebumps. Yes. Then later when they go to, like, all to try and arrest Krell, he says, it's treason then. Like in... He
does!
In Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, which is excellent.
Yep.
Yes. And then we get just a long series of action sequences with Pong Krell just being incredibly, like, terrifyingly powerful badass with, you know, very super strong in the Force, super strong just, like, physically, like, muscle-wise, and also with 2 double-bladed lightsabers and 4 arms. And it's just... It's incredible. And especially, like, the part where, like, they're in the forest and he's, like, sneaking around and being stealthy, and his voice seems like it's coming from all directions, and he's just taunting them, being like, you were right, I actually do hate you all, and I do want you all dead. And it
was so spooky.
It's so creepy and cool. Oh my god. It's great. Yeah, it was awesome. I loved all the fight sequences. I love just like this episode is titled aptly Carnage of Krell, because geez, the amount of clone troopers he just, like, tears through, and all the different creative ways in which he kills clones, like, you know, stabbing them through the chest, slashing them through them. He picks up one guy and, like, just snaps his spine over his knee.
Yeah, like
it's
Bane and Batman
it's
kind
brutal.
of thing.
Yeah. It's rough. I, by the way, as soon as Krell, like, started running, I was like, oh right, I should probably start counting deaths now. So I counted, as far as I could tell, at least 25 confirmed kills by Pong Krell in that sequence alone. So
oh my gosh. I realized at the beginning of the arc that I probably should have been counting, but Umbarans are people, and so we probably should have been counting, like, Rex.
Yeah, but I don't think we ever see, like, I guess Rex. Whatever. It's it's more fine. Like what are the fun kills? Like,
yeah,
like this is fun because it's fun. Like so many of them, and it's like, you know, it's a lot, and it's over the top, so and
25 anyway. For Pong Krell. Good lord.
Yes, in one episode.
in one episode, and then he dies. Womp womp.
Yes.
Good riddance.
Yeah. The whole, like, I love the, like, again, what I was talking about earlier, just the idea that this arc, at least to me when I first watched it, felt like it was going for a more sort of traditional, like, learning about our differences and coming to see eye to eye sort of story.
Yeah.
And it turned out that he was actually just a villainous psychopath, like, that had been manipulating them the whole time.
Yep.
And that was just, it's such a cooler premise, especially since it's something that, at least the first time I watched it, did not see coming. And it's just, it's dark and it's fascinating and it's cool. Pong Krell is cool to me as a character because it goes to show, like, it demonstrates the idea that people, you know, slowly some people are able to tell kind of the direction that things are going in the galaxy. People can tell that things are wrong and that, like, somebody else is pulling the strings, and that he says, you know, I've foreseen a new world order kind of thing, and it's it's very interesting to me to see, like, specifically a Jedi, like, turning to the dark side because of the way that he's seen the Jedi moving, and the way that he sees the war moving, and it's fascinating, and he's such a cool, interesting character, and also the worst. And
he is the worst.
Yeah, Pong Krell is the worst. Probably the name of this episode.
Yup. Oh man. Well, Jack, did you have a favorite part of this episode?
I mean, it's gotta be the reveal of we've actually been shooting each other. We're all clones.
Oh my gosh,
that
yeah.
Like,
that was, like, the emotional gut
chills.
punch of this whole arc. If they're...
Yes.
Yeah. If you had to...
Yeah. It's interesting, just, like...
it has to be that one.
Yeah. Definitely. It just kind of goes to show about, like, like, up until that moment, it's, you know, there are arguments within the clones, you know, people being like, you know, some people being like, this guy is you know, he's not a good leader, and he probably hates clones. And then some other clones are like, no, he doesn't hate clones. Or, you know, I think at one point somebody's like, what, so you're saying he hates clones? And I think Rex or whoever he was talking to goes, I'm not saying that, I just, you know, you know. And then later on it's revealed, oh no, yeah, he actually does just hate clones. It's like, yeah, it's a cool sequence, and it's very revealing and kind of gets everybody on the same page, and it's chilling, and I love it. It's great.
Oh man. Yep, I'd have to agree. Definitely the best part of the episode, or the arc, was
what's that?
Yeah, was that reveal? Yeah.
MVP, we already talked about it. It's Rex, right? Because he's ultimately the protagonist here. It's his story. It's his, like, he's the one with the lesson learned the most, you know, because he's the most kind of important and, like, eventually relevant character here, but also he's, you know, he's the leader here, and it's about him learning to, like, basically learning to take care of his men and learning to prioritize like people over systems, essentially.
Yep.
You know,
you know, I just realized Rex actually did see through the lies of the Jedi.
I see through the lies of the Jedi.
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely Rex. Main character kills. Pong Krell killed at least 25 people. And that's all I counted. So that's what we'll have for this episode.
Yep. Good job, Pong Krell.
Lost limbs. Probably somebody lost a limb. There's probably at least one clone who, like, got their arm chopped off by Pong Krell or something. But yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't really paying attention to that. It was too dark. Couldn't really see.
Wilhelm screams. You couldn't see. Yeah. It was too dark and foggy. Wilhelm screams. I wish that Pong Krell had done a Wilhelm scream when he got shot with that.
If only.
And finally, more Star Wars is better Star Wars. How does this episode make the movies and the rest of Star Wars better? I think we already kind of talked about it.
Pong Krell's dead. That's the first thing.
That's how it makes Star Wars better. No more Pong Krell. Yeah.
No more Pong Krell. He's dead. Don't need to worry about him anymore. Also, like, I think we did touch on this a little bit already, but just the idea of like that clones are not droids, and their humanity is what makes them who they are and makes them
definitely a central theme of the Clone Wars as a series, and comes up strongly here too.
Yep.
And then we also talked about just like Rex's character development here, him, learning to be a better leader and to value life and individuality. And also, I think, just in general, seeing another example of corruption within the Jedi Order, and not just the fact that Pong Krell like foresee the rise of the Empire and wanted to become a Sith and stuff, but the fact that he was still a general that was being like sent to the battlefield to lead men, and the Jedi none of them saw or suspected, presumably, that Pong Krell was like a murderous psychopath who wanted to become a Sith. Like the fact that he's one of them and they didn't see it happen, they didn't see it coming, they didn't expect it, and just it goes to show further just like how blind the Jedi have kind of become.
Right.
Their own corruption. Yeah.
Does like the execution of Pong Krell ever get mentioned again in Star Wars?
I was wondering about that.
Do the Jedi?
I am going to. Yeah, because I would think so. Like, and you would like somebody would talk about that. I'm looking on his Wikipedia page. Hold on. He's mentioned in Dark Disciple.
That's true.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a quote here. Mace Windu is talking about Quinlan Voss. He says, "This is by far the greatest breach of trust the Jedi have seen since Count Dooku himself betrayed us. Even General Krell's deception did less damage." So that they do mention him. Let's see. Then he is briefly mentioned during the season 5 finale arc, when Barriss bombs the temple, and Ahsoka, is like, I couldn't think any Jedi would go this far in protesting the war, and then Anakin, like, and it says, Anakin reminded Ahsoka that some Jedi who initially protested the corruption in the Order later turned against the Jedi Order, mentioning both Count Dooku and General Krell as examples. So,
I see.
Yeah, he's very briefly mentioned, but
okay. They clearly don't learn from anything. They just like know about it.
Apparently, no. Obviously not. No, yeah.
Well,
it's rough.
Yeah, rough. Not surprising. Not surprising.
Yeah. So, what a guy. What a true monsterish psychopath.
What a nutsack. What a butthole. Pong Krell.
What a nutsack butthole.
Nutsack
this
butthole.
episode. No, I will not. I refuse.
No. Yeah, no. No. Maybe not.
Amazing. Oh, yeah. I would love to see just like some sort of canon follow-up story to this, of like, even if it's just like a short story or something about the Jedi reacting to this event. Like like Anakin being like talking to Rex, or talking to Ahsoka afterwards about it, or to Obi-Wan and being like, how did we not see this? And I don't know, just I would love to know what their reaction was to this, because it seems like such a major event, and then it like basically almost never gets mentioned again.
Right, exactly.
Which I feel like is probably partially like intentional. The idea that like they don't want to talk about their failures. They don't want to talk about the idea of actually some Jedi have turned against us, and because the idea of an incredibly powerful Jedi, turning against the Jedi Order and using their powers for evil is a very scary thing. And like,
that wouldn't happen.
They would rather ignore it than,
right.
As we saw in The Acolyte also, like,
exactly.
They would rather cover things up and not talk about things than,
Oops.
Apparently, fun fact, there was an Umbaran alphabet developed just for this episode.
Really?
That's cool. So I don't think it was ever used again. It was just in these episodes, but there's a whole alphabet. You can look at it on Wikipedia.
That's the most, like, nerdy, deep lore. Like, I'm just imagining, like, an Umbara arc superfan who, like, learns how to write in Umbaran. Like, some Star Wars
I'm
nerds learn how to
specifically a
write in
super fan
Arabesh.
of the Umbara arc, yeah.
Yeah. And just to, like, I don't know, like, just to, like, up their nerd pedigree, learn the Umbaran alphabet. Because they can.
I have no doubt there's probably somebody out there who's learned it.
Oh, 100%. Star Wars fandom is weird. We're all weird.
Yeah, I know. We're some of them.
I know. I'm including myself in this.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm interested to see, like, another thing I would like to see is, like, I wanted to see what Dogma's up to now. Like, presumably he's just, like, in prison, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to know, like, how has his view on the world and his, like, perspective and his personality changed since, you know, this earth-shattering occurrence for him of, like, you know, he's so loyal, and then in the end he finally snaps because he's like, he betrayed us, and like he's
I want to imagine that
even the most literally dogmatic of the clones.
Right. I want to imagine that he, at the end of the war, gets out of prison and then becomes like a big clone rights activist.
That'd be cool. That'd be rad. Yeah. Like
works with the
blue senator, right?
Yeah, Chuchi. Senator Chuchi. He works with Senator
Chuchi. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to believe that's what he does.
That'd be excellent. I'd love to see that. Yeah. So many cool characters that we get in the Clone Wars that don't show up again. That there's just so many opportunities to like see some of these people again. I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, this is cool. This is fun. This is cool and fun.
Yes. What a great arc.
Yep.
Yeah, just love it. It's so good.
Yep. What do we have next, Jack? What's coming up next?
Next week we've got Cat Slaves.
Cat Slaves. Let's go, weird Star Wars. Oh yeah.
Yes. So yeah, join us all next week when we'll be talking about the Clone Wars Season 4, Episodes 11 through 13. Kidnapped, Slaves of the Republic, and Escape from Kadavo. And it's a weird series where Ahsoka gets like sold off as a pretend slave, and there's a cat lady that Anakin flirts with, and it's all real weird. And it's fun though.
Indeed.
I love a good Anakin and Ahsoka centric arc. Like I think Obi-Wan is also in. It's the trio, and it's been a while since I think we've gotten a good like the trio episode. So.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Thank you all for joining us for this incredible and very dark arc of the Clone Wars. I'm glad we could share in our despair with you today.
Yep.
Take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated. Maybe with a insulated water bottle if you're cool with me.
Ooh, thanks, sponsor.
Thanks, sponsor.
Yeah.
And
hey, where's the jury on Spice right now? Where? How do we feel about Spice?
Spice is out of season right now, so it's kind of a neither here nor there situation. It's like you can't get strawberries sometimes.
Yeah,
right now.
But if you can get it, you can sell it for a lot right now because it's out of season.
You can get it for many credits, and credits will do fine.
Credits
has been established.
Will do fine.
All right, do Spice if you're able to, and may the Force be with you all. Bye, everybody.
See you later.
All right, cut the chatter. Roger, Roger.